Hello and congratulations on getting access to this video course on email marketing automation. We're going to talk about how to set up your email autoresponder using GetResponse. And in addition to that, we'll talk about some more advanced strategies as well. So this is video number 1, which is the introduction. And what I want to do is talk about mindset, because having the right mindset is crucial before you actually jump in and begin to build your list and use this system to essentially build a relationship with your prospects. And of course, in addition to that, with the intent of course, getting them to open your emails, getting them to click your emails, and then of course, get them to buy or take whatever action that you are trying to get them to take. Now, as far as mindset goes, you want to think quality over quantity, meaning instead of trying to reach everybody, instead of trying to get 1,000 people onto your list, don't worry about the big list. Be concerned more about attracting the right person. So at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you build a list of people who have the problems, who want the solutions that you're providing. Now let's talk about what you need. Obviously, you're going to need to have a autoresponder account, and we're going to be using GetResponse. So if you want to go to getresponse.com and create an account, you can do that, and we'll be walking you through step by step. You need to have a product or service to sell, or an affiliate product. So either it's going to be your own product, or it's going to be somebody else's product. But either case, you're going to need to have an end goal. You also want to have access to an email autoresponder series. In other words, a bunch of emails that are sequenced from day 1, day 2, or however you want to set it up to build that relationship, to warm people up, essentially. Now, don't worry if you don't have one right now. You'll actually learn how to create one that converts and gets high open rates and high click-through rates. So here's a quick overview of what's inside this video course so you know exactly what to expect. And that way, when you're able to piece everything together, you're going to be able to implement it at a faster rate. So obviously, this is video number 1. Video number 2, we're going to talk about what's your end goal. And the reason why this is important is because if you don't have an end goal, you don't know exactly what you're trying to achieve, then you're not going to be able to build the list correctly, right? Video number 3, we're going to talk about creating a connection, understanding the demographic of your prospect, who they are, what their typical day looks like, and that way you're going to be able to write an email series that connects with them, that builds that relationship, that makes them feel like, wow, you're talking directly to me, right? Video number 4, we're going to talk about the backward email funnel, meaning how to create a high converting email autoresponder series. Video number 5 is going to be a quick overview of GetResponse, meaning we're going to jump right in. I'm going to show you the dashboard. I'm going to show you around. And that way you get a better idea of what to expect before we actually use GetResponse. Video number 6, we're going to talk about creating a list. So we're going to jump straight in. I'm going to show you how to create a list. I'm going to show you how to set up an autoresponder series in video number 7. Video number 8, we're going to show you how to set up your emails inside of GetResponse. How do you set up day 1, day 2, or based on how you want to set up these series, how do you set those up so that, let's say you have a email autoresponder series of 12 emails. How do you set that up properly so that it is released based on the time that you choose? Video number 9, we'll talk about setting up web forms. And video number 10, we'll talk about list hygiene. Believe it or not, cleaning your list is very important. And if you don't do it frequently, what happens is over time, people's emails get outdated, they delete them, and then you're emailing an email box that is no longer existing. And what that can do for you is that will negatively impact you in the long haul. We'll talk more about that as a bonus advanced strategy, and how you can essentially make sure that you constantly get a high open rate. So with that said, that's the end of video number 1, and we're going to move on to video number 2. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 2, and we're going to dive right in and talk about what's your end goal. So before we jump in and talk about the technical parts of how to set up your email autoresponder series, it's really important to understand your end goal. Like, how many different ways and different opportunities do you have to profit, right? So unless you really understand at least a little bit of your plan, then jumping in like everybody else to just build a list is not going to be productive at the end of the day, right? So that's why I am going to focus on these few videos on what is your end goal, how do you create a connection, and how to understand your demographics and who you're talking to. That is actually something that most people totally forget about, and they skip that. And when they skip that, you actually end up failing or not profiting as well as you should be at the end of the day. So what I want you to do is I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, and at the end of this video, I want you to pause it, take your time to jot down the answers to these questions before you actually move on to video number 3. So I want you to ask yourself, are you selling a product or a service? Jot that down. If not, are you selling an affiliate product? Now, if you're selling a product, obviously you could sell an affiliate product in the long run or vice versa. You really just want to get an idea of what your end goal is now, and what your future end goals could look like is fine. And the reason why I ask you to write this down is because if you're selling your own product, you can do a few things like build a relationship. And there's a few more things that you could easily do, like brand yourself, provide more value, and there's a different way of doing it, basically. If you're selling an affiliate product, you could still build a brand, but you're selling somebody else's product. So you need to gear it in a certain way. So in other words, if you're selling a product or service, you need to clearly understand what are the problems that your prospect faces, right? And give them tips and pointers along the way, and build a relationship with them, gain their trust so that they're interested in your product or service. Now, if you're selling an affiliate product, on the other hand, then you may not be required to do all of that. Instead, you can provide a little bit of value and build that relationship up front. And then, of course, you can sell somebody else's product. So it's similar, but it's a little bit different slightly. But knowing your end goal is key. So if you're selling your product or service right now at this very moment, then write that down. If you're not, and you're selling an affiliate product right this moment, then jot that down. All right. The third question I want to ask you is, why are you trying to build this list? You might answer, well, of course, I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to build a list. I'm trying to print money. And that's everybody's goal, but I want specifics. I want you to write down, why are you trying to build this list? I want to make more sales for XYZ product. I want to help more people who are facing this particular problem. In fact, jot that down. I want to help more people who are in this very specific niche, in this very specific demographic. I want to help more people like me. Jot that down, because then you can use that later in your email autoresponder series. So beyond the intention of just making money, what is the real reason behind wanting to build a list? Or in other words, you could rephrase it as, what are you trying to achieve? So if you have somebody that you're passionate about helping, envision that person in front of you and think about, why are you trying to help them, right? What are they facing? And this kind of goes into video number 3, and we'll talk more about that. But if you think about, why are you trying to achieve them? What are you trying to achieve in this whole project of creating this list, or this journey of creating this list? What do you want people to feel like? Do you want people to feel like they trust you, that, or you want people to laugh? Do you want people to feel sad, feel happy? What do you want them to feel like as you're building that relationship? Now, you might ask, why would I want somebody to feel sad? Well, if you're trying to gradually build up to that point of trying to sell them, you want to focus on their pain. Not necessarily your goal is to make them sad, but your goal is to find their pain and to show them that you understand their pain. You understand where they're coming from, right? And from that point, how do you heal them? How do you help them? How do you solve their pain? All right. So that's what you want to do, and jot that down. So, what I'm trying to get at is there should be a very specific reason why you are building a list. Building a list just because you're told that it's a great way to print money is not the best reason. In fact, money should come last. Helping people should come first. If you can help 1,000 people and those thousands of people are truly helped, or you provide them with a solution, even if they were to pay you $10, every single one of them, that would be about $10,000. Now, that doesn't mean that 1,000 people will sign up on your list and all 1,000 people are going to buy from you. My point is, what is that passion? What is that drive that comes first before the money? Because if you focus on that and you focus on helping people solve their problems, believe it or not, you're actually going to build a more successful business compared to the other guy who is just focused on building a big list for the sake of money. Hopefully that makes sense. So these are all very important questions, and you should pause this video right now and write down the answers to them before you move on to the next video, which is video number 3.